Hello and welcome to Dramani Online Maths. Today we are going to look at an interesting topic called probability. Have you thought about this? When you flip a coin or when you toss a die, probability of getting 1, you wouldn't know. So it's just an experiment or a random thing. So probability simply talks about random. Is that okay? Now, what is probability? Let's look at what a probability is. So, we are saying that probability is a ratio of the event to the sample space. So, we are saying that is the ratio of the events to the sample space. Is that okay? Good. So in this case, mathematically, let me write it down. You can say that probability is equals to the number of events over the number of sample space. Is that okay? So probability simply means the number of events over the sample space. Now, let's take them one after the other. We know that when we toss a die, we have 6 numbers there. So you wouldn't know whether you are going to obtain 1 or obtain 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So the total number of the outcome is what we call the sample space. So let's take this example. When I toss a die, I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the outcomes, right? So the total number of this outcome is what we term as the sample space. Sample space. So the sample space simply means the total number of what? Outcome. Thank you. Now, looking at this one, let's assume that we obtain 3 out of this total number of outcome. That becomes the event. So 3 is the event. Is that okay? Now, per the formula is saying that the number of events over the number of sample space means that if I want probability of obtaining that's 2, 4, 6. So when you count them, you get 3 numbers. Is that okay? Then you move to the number of what? The sample space. And I have explained to you that the sample space means that the total number of outcomes. So if you look at this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Coincidentally, the last number is 6. That's not the reason why the sample space is 6, okay? But you just count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have 6 as your sample space. Is that okay? Good. After getting your event of obtain even numbers and the number of sample space, for you to get the probability of obtaining even numbers, then per the formula is number of what? Event of obtaining even numbers over the number of what? Sample space. What it means is that probability of obtaining even numbers is going to be 3/6. So probability of obtaining even numbers is going to be 1/2 by reduction or reducing it to the simplest fraction. Is that okay? With what we have here, then we can say that in measuring probability, then probability should always be between 0 and 1 inclusive. Means that probability should be in the fraction of proper fraction. Proper fraction. Or probability shouldn't be more than 1 or less than 0. So if you look at this one we had, half is the same as 0.5 and half is a proper fraction. So all your answers for probability should be a proper fraction, meaning that the denominator should be greater than the numerator. Now if you look at this particular one, if we have a probability of an event to be 0, then it means that that probability will never happen. Will never happen. So think about things that you think it will never happen on this earth. That's what I'm talking about. Assuming that you said that somebody gave birth to, let's say, 20 kids at a point. This will never happen. Though we have miracle things on this earth, but that will never happen. You can have people giving birth to 4 or 5 at a point, but 20, it will never happen. Then if the probability is exactly 1, then you said that you are certain. You are certain that the thing will happen. In a sense that some people know that this thing will actually happen. And they will put their trust in it. So when the thing is, you know, or you're 100% that that thing will happen, then you can say that the probability of that thing is 1. And if you know that thing will not happen, then the probability of that thing is 0. In this case, aside these specialities, which is 0 and 1, all the answers that you have to get in probability should be proper fraction, or when it comes to decimals, should be 0 points. Let's say numbers or decimals between 0 and 1, or fractions between 0 and 1. I hope you are okay with that. Very good. So we are going to pick an example and see how it works. So we have seen that probability is always the number of the event over the total outcomes. So when you toss, let's say, a coin, it is head and what? A tail. So let's say I have a coin. So when I toss it, I'm going to have head, then tail. Means that the number of sample space here will be 2 because it just counts 1, 2. Now, if I want the probability of getting only head, meaning that probability of getting head will be number of event of getting head over the number of what? Sample space. Number of event of getting head is just 1. So that's 1 over number of sample space is what? 2. So that is that. Very simple, right? So from here, we are going to look at an example. Okay, now let's look at example 1 under the probability. Per the explanation that I gave out, I know that we can all try this together. So you can pause the video and try this. Let me read the question out. A Ludo die is thrown once. What is the probability of scoring I, an even number, I, an odd number, I, a number less than 5? So let's look at this. This is very simple. So let's start. So, first thing, anytime you have to solve a probability question, the first thing that you need to do is to find the sample space. So since this one is a die, we know that it will be 1 to 6. So when you count them, you will see that the number of sample space will be 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that okay? Very good. Now that we have a sample space, we also need to get the event of obtaining even numbers. Okay. So events of obtaining even numbers. Okay, so number of obtaining, you can list that one down, which is, so you take the even numbers from there, which is 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. So number of obtaining even numbers is 3. So first one, we have probability of obtaining even numbers is 3, or you can write a formula, which is number of events of obtaining even numbers, then number of what? Sample space. So in this case, probability of obtaining even numbers will be 3 over 6, which is 1 over 2. Is that okay? Good. Now I move to the II. This is supposed to be an, okay? So an odd number. So first thing I'm going through is probability of obtaining odd numbers will be number of event of obtaining odd numbers over the number of sample space. So in this our case, you could see that the odd numbers here are 1, 3, and 5. So the event of obtaining odd numbers are 3. So we write 3 over the sample space, which will give you 1 over 2. So the II2 is 1 over 2. Then the last one, III, a number less than 5. So you need to get a number that is less than 5. Okay, so what are the numbers less than 5 here? Think from 1 to 4 are the numbers that are less than 5. So numbers less than 5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 numbers. So my probability of obtaining numbers less than 5 is going to be number of obtaining numbers less than 5 over the sample space. So in this case, I'm going to have 4 over 6, which is 2 over 3. So that's the solution to this problem. Now let's look at second example. Alright, now let's look at example number 2. Example number 2. So for the example number 2, this is a little bit in word problem. In a class of 24 students, 8 of them are girls and 16 of them are boys. Find the probability of picking at random a boy, then a girl. These are the questions. So let's see how we can tackle a question like this. So let's put the information down. Now in this case, where or which one of them will be our sample space? Our sample space here will be the total number of students in the classroom, which is the 24. So we are going to have 24 students. Event of obtaining girls are 8. Then event of obtaining boys are 16. Is that okay? So that I said to find probability of obtaining a boy. Probability of obtaining a boy is number of event of obtaining a boy over the sample space. So number of obtaining boys are 16 over 24. The sample space is 24, which will give us 2 over 3. Is that okay? Probability of obtaining girls is also going to be the same thing. So the girls are 8 over 24, which will give us 1 over 3. You see, they are very simple calculation. So now let's look at our third example. Okay, now let's look at this beautiful example. I read a question. Determine the probability of picking the following at random when the letters of the word length, that's the word length, is placed in a bag. When you put, you dismantle the letter, cut them and put them in a bag, okay? What's the probability of selecting a vowel letter from it? A constant, then the letter G, okay? So let's look at what we can do about this particular question. So solution, we are talking about this letter. Okay, so in this case, our sample space will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sample space becomes 6. Now the I said the vowel. So you want a vowel. So in number of events of obtaining vowel letters will be, so you just look from the vowel there, and the only vowel here is E. So it means that it is 1. Is that okay? So if I want a probability of obtaining vowel letters, it's going to be number of events of obtaining vowel letters over the number of sample space. So that's going to give us 1 over 6. Then move to the I. The I is also talking about a constant. A constant. So number of events of obtaining constant will be, so if only one is vowel, then the rest become constant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 5. So probability of obtaining constant will be number of events of obtaining constant over the number of what? Sample space. So in this case, we have probability of obtaining constants equals 5 over 6. 5 over 6. Then the last one, we are going to look at the letter G, okay? So probability of obtaining the letter G. So let me write it this way. Probability to obtain the letter G, the number of events to obtain letter G over the number of what? Sample space. So the number of events to obtain letter G will be, how many G do you have here? Only 1. So 1. So it means that probability to obtain letter G will be 1 over 6. Is that okay? So that is the solution to this particular question. Thank you very much. There is a question. Try your hand on it and leave your answer in the comment section. Share and subscribe. Thank you.